Hello everyone and welcome today to our question and answer session. This is a great chance to learn more about the candidates in the big student elections. Before we start with the presidential candidates today, let's hear from some of your VP candidates.
As Vice President, I would use my platform to improve the student experience by making it an inclusive learning environment, because I believe that every student in the college is entitled to a education regardless of their background. So I believe that everyone that comes into this college should leave with the education that they came in to access, and should get those, not get those, get the grades that they set out to get. And I think by being Vice President of Learning and Teaching, you can help that, because you have the opportunity to help shape and change the way that students are taught. So I would say that's probably what you can do, or what I can do, I guess, to help improve students' education.
So as Vice President of Diversity and Wellbeing, I will focus on the leftover crowding in the main left area, as there's a lot of inaccessibility for disabled people as well as people trying to get to class. I would also focus on mental health services being a bit more available and accessible within the college, as well as having disabled people and minorities at the forefront of coursework, like having women who have invented computers in class, like having lecturers talk about the diversity of people within their course.
First of all, I think I need to communicate with people, because I'm representing the whole voice of people in our college, and I need to hear them and do everything so everyone could enjoy our social events, activities like clubs and societies.
Well, for me, ultimately, to improve the student experience is to ensure every individual is listened to, and every diagroup of students is listened to in this college, and therefore empower them to ensure they can come to me and ensure that all their values and challenges and concerns are listened to by the management of this college, so I can be a part of that change to ensure that student experience is of good standard for years to come.
As VP, I want to try and put an emphasis upon our togetherness and our community. With the way that society is today, I feel like that is really needed, and so I want to bring forth the information and knowledge that we have here at the college, not only within the Students' Association, but the wide services that we have available that students may have forgotten throughout their time here at the college.
So for me, to ensure every diverse group in this college are listened to, is I would listen to all the current groups that are in place, but also massively encourage for any student or any groups of students for the creation of said other groups, so that the beliefs and the challenges in living a different light to the stereotypical norm is listened to and is valued by myself, but also the college management. I'd also encourage this by ensuring that all our month movements, for example Black History Month or Pride Month, is greater empowered, there's more representation of that, to ensure that all of our diverse groups of people in the college are listened to. But I would encourage for the creation of more of these month movements, or any other liberation movements for religious or cultural, for example, and just have more of a fun, diverse time in this college with more cultural, religious events, and make sure everybody's connected, and we can build a connection and understand each other through understanding and listening.
Again, as I said, it's really important to hear what people are saying, and it's really important to be heard, and I want to be sure that everyone are enjoying our events and everyone are having the best years in their life. So I would say that probably I would use the Google Forms, for example, for having the opinion of every person with every background So be sure that everyone are enjoying and is heard.
So I am an LGBT convener at this moment, and I have a lot of resources and contacts within the LGBT society. I would also talk to the Disabled Student Network, as I feel like they have to have their voices heard, as well as encourage anyone within the ethnic minorities and black and brown people to create their own environment, as I feel like college should be accessible for everyone, education should be accessible, and the college and I will work towards making this a more diverse and inclusive space.
Ultimately, I aim to be approachable. That is my main goal. I want to be a present figure out with and within the Students' Association as VP. I want to have an open dialogue, whether that be constant communication via email or any other platforms available. And I want to be able to take the comments from the student body and feedback that to my fellow presidential team and do what we can to ensure any worries, queries or issues are resolved, if that is ultimately possible.
Ensure that, I already do listen to the diverse views of the student body as the current VP of Learning and Teaching. I feel like I should carry this on into my next year of study by talking to the students. It's pretty much as simple as that. Talk to the students, hear them out, listen to them, present their views to the boards and committees and the people who can make those changes. You have that opportunity as Vice President or to work in the Student Association to present those views. Now, as a representative of the students, you take these views, you take it to the board or the committee or the faculty board meeting or the class rep meetings, and that's where you gather your information, and that's where you listen, you take it back, you work it out, and then you bring that to the people who can make a change, who can implement a change. It's pretty much as simple as that. You just listen. You go out, you talk to the students, that's how you do it. Speak to them, find out what they want, well, not find out what they want, but find out what their challenges are, and then implement it from there. It's a very simple process. You just need to listen to the students.
I feel like I'm the best person for the VP role of diversity and wellbeing, because I see the best fit for that role is someone who lives a diverse life and someone who knows the importance of good well-being, who's experienced a life with not so much great of that support for someone who's, of a minority religious belief, someone who is neither Scottish, neither English, from a half and half family, from a military background. I feel like I understand the need for a good well-being support, and I feel like that role should be fulfilled by someone who themselves is diverse and can understand the struggles of living a different life to the norm.
So for the past year and a half, I had been a convener within the society. So to go for students, the VP of students, to go with the VP of Societies and Activities, I feel I can heavily rely on that experience. Not only that, I am also a part of Student Parliament at the moment as Events Officer, which has aided me in being an events management student here at the college to put on activities and events for our students, which we recently done back in December with our Students Association Winter Celebration, which was a massive inter-society event.
So I believe I'll be the best candidate for the diversity and wellbeing, as I am a disabled student as well as being LGBT, so I have a lot of resources and contacts, as well as I've had experience talking to politicians about disabled people. I feel like I could bring that skill and resources into the college and make a more diverse and safe space for everyone to talk about who they are as an individual, as well as representing minorities that may have never been represented. Yeah.
I think I'm the best person for the Vice President of Learning and Teaching because I have been, or I am currently the Vice President of Learning and Teaching, so it means I have that year of experience to carry on into the next academic year. I have those relationships with the people that need and can implement those changes that the students ask for. So that's why I think I'm the best person for the position, because I'm already in the position. I'm already representing you guys.
As a person who is responsible and never late to class, I can say that I am responsible. Also, I am pretty self-organized and I'm studying 5 languages at the moment and I'm already fluent in 3 languages. So can be useful for being a VP. And also I have an experience in studying in different university in different country, so I know how the student life can be in different country and I can use this knowledge in our college.
So before we start with any questions, it feels important to introduce each of the candidates that we have here today. So first of all, let's introduce Leo Sabido. We have Alice O'Connor. And finally, John McKellar. Are you ready to get started with the questions? Okay, so I'm going to pass the first question to start with Leo and then we'll work our way down. So the first question is, what skills and experiences do you have that would make you an effective student president?
Well, I've actually been working with the Pres team as Vice President of Diversity Wellbeing this year. So it's given me a really good understanding of how our presidential team works, how to be effective team player, and also it's given me the opportunity to meet a lot of different students and build relationships with them already. And I'd like to continue this as student president.
Great, thank you. And what about you, Alice? What skills and experiences do you have that would make you a good student president?
Well, I come from quite a wealth background of public service roles. One of my voluntary positions is an event first aiding, so we come across quite a variety of different people in a variety of different situations. So, communication skills, everything, being able to empathise with people is, really core. Things that are required for that, and I feel like I can reflect that back into a student presidency.
Great, thank you. And finally, I'll pass the question to John.
Yeah, I think I'm old enough and probably just jaded enough to be able to pull the life experience card, but on top of that, I have a lot of experience in customer service, over a decade of experience, so I have become very attuned to gathering feedback, recording it, passing it on to the right people, and things of that nature. In addition, I've got some media experience. I've been a podcaster and also a commentator for quite a few years now. So, and I've also worked with a not-for-profit as well. I've been involved with that, so I've got a bit of fundraising experience and things of that nature as well.
Great, thank you. Thank you all for answering that first question. So we're on to our second question now, and I'll pass it to you first, Alice, if that feels okay. And that question is, why do you think the role of the student president is important?
Well, it's about reflecting the views of, the student body. The college has a wide variety of different, people with different experiences, studying different courses, and everybody has their own individual needs. So being able to reflect that in a whole to the student association, any of the union boards, the principal, is really vital, and being able to ensure that every individual that attends the college has their key values upheld by the college itself.
Great, thank you. And what about you, John? Why do you think it's important?
I think it's crucial that in a registered charity like a college, an institution of education as well in particular, that students have access to the way it's run, and I think that the student president, as their representative, bears a massive amount of that responsibility, and so that's why I think it's very vital, the role of student president, and that it gives people a voice, a representative voice.
Great, thank you. And then finally, Leo, why do you think the role of student president is important?
Well, the role of student president is very important. I think it's like you are the voice, or speaking on behalf of the different groups around the college. You're there to be diplomatic and there to be sharing their views and making sure that you're not just talking to one pool of students, but all the students. Yeah.
Great, those are some really great answers. Thank you so much. So we're going to go to our third question now. Are we feeling okay to continue? Yeah? So I'm going to pass this question to you first, John, if that feels okay. And that question is, as the student president, you will be the representative of the whole student body. how would you ensure that you are receiving feedback from students from across the college and representing the diverse views of these students?
So one of the things that I've included in my manifesto actually is a request for a review of the presidential team's roles and responsibilities. So to try and identify any pockets of the student population that feel either under or unrepresented. I would add more responsibility to my role if need be, in line with that, if anything were to be identified that could be done better. And in order to ensure that students across both campuses are all being represented fairly, I think it's important to be in constant engagement with them and to always be visible and accessible. So I would make accessibility a massive priority for me.
Great, thank you. And what about you, Leo? How would you ensure that you are receiving feedback from students across the college and representing the diverse views of these students?
I think being a queer trans person of colour already gives me this understanding of different minority backgrounds, already working closely with them, with the societies. I think the key is to be transparent about communications with the wider college and making sure that it's accessible to all students and that you are actually prioritising their views over your own views.
Okay. That's great, thank you so much. And finally, Alice, how would you ensure you're receiving feedback from students and also representing the diverse view of these students?
I think that being able to communicate with people is a really vital, essential part of that. We luckily live in an age where technology is accessible to everybody rather. Everyone has a mobile phone, everyone has a laptop that they can, go on social media and interact with people. So having online Dropboxes, I think, would be a really good way of kind of interacting with people who are maybe a little bit shyer in person, but also going back to the kind of old-fashioned of being visible and interacting and speaking to people in person and actually going up to people and trying to interact with them. Because, you can't expect people to always come up to you. You've got to be, approaching other people to, encourage them to interact with you and give their views.
That's great. Again, thank you all for answering question 3. That was some really great answers that we had there. So we'll move on to question 4, and I'm going to put this back to you, Leo, back to the start again. So the student president role is a great opportunity to make positive changes at the college. Would you like to discuss your manifesto and your ideas for how you, as a student president, would work with the student association and the student body to do this? So how would you make positive changes in the college?
So my main focus of my manifesto was continuing the work that I'm already working on as Vice President of Diversity and Wellbeing. I really want to put a main focus this year on legacy work that's going to continue after I leave, that's going to continue to positively impact our students. Also in my manifesto I did talk about my prioritising minority groups such as care experience, BIPOC students, LGBT students, and I think coming from the work that I've already done last year, I think it's great to be able to already been working with these groups, but continuing this work and making sure that it's not just one-off pieces, but they continue on.
Great, thank you so much. And for you, Alice, do you want me to repeat the question again, because I know it was a long one?
No, not at all. So, as part of my manifesto, I spoke about, how vital it is that students have access to the relative mental health services, and the college offers great services itself that offer counselling and various other resources online. Mm-hmm. But one of the issues I find is not a lot of people realise that the college has these services, and I believe that, accessibility starts with promotion. And I think that a robust campaign needs to be undertaken to show people how these services are accessed, what they're available for, and what they can offer to them. Another big part of my manifesto is a lot of people struggle with their studies in terms of their essay support, communication skills, and presentation in general. I think that a key focus group around this that helps to promote all throughout the academic year would be essential in helping people to adapt these skills and develop upon their different communication skills at essays, just like I said before.
Yeah, great, thank you so much, thank you. And for you, John, again, would you like me to repeat the question, because it was, are you okay?
Yeah. My manifesto, I think, could be seen as slightly challenging by some people because I've made I've made it quite public that I am not massively fond of the way that management runs a few things around here, particularly the kind of what appears to me to be an utter disregard for students' best interests with regards to the cuts that they're making across the college, not just to lecturers, but to other aspects of the college experience. And so I would like to agitate for better transparency from management. And I would like, as student president, if someone gives me feedback to take to them, to be able to then go to them and ask them for a straight answer. And if they don't provide one, ask them why they haven't done so. I would also like to, like I said earlier, request a review of the roles and responsibilities of the presidential team to see if the Students' Association itself is actually doing enough for everyone. And also I would ultimately like to look at possible avenues of where the City SA could become a bit more self-sufficient. At the minute they're sort of reliant on the college's budget, and I would like to see if there's any ways that we could potentially look at students being able to raise their own money for the Students' Association to improve activities and also well-being support on top of that.
Okay. Thank you so much for answering. Again, loads of great answers that we had there. That was really great. We're on to our final question now, which has gone really, really quickly. I'm sure well, I don't know if you still feel that way, but it seems to have gone really quickly. So the last question I'm going to give to you first, Alice, if that feels okay. And it's going to be, how would you build a positive student community here at City?
Key engagement and being a good role model, being able to interact with people positively.
Yeah.
You know, I think it kind of links back to Bandura's social interactionism theory. You know, where people learn from their environment, the people around them, and you know, if you can reflect that onto people, people are going to reflect that back. And I think building a positive environment starts with being a good role model.
Great, thank you so much. And for you, John, how do you think you could build a positive student community?
Like I said earlier, being accessible and approachable is very key. I think, despite my earlier comment, I think being diplomatic is a massive advantage for the student president as well, in knowing that you don't need to like or agree with something to represent it if it's your responsibility to do so. In addition to that, like I've lost my train of thought.
That's okay. So you were talking about being diplomatic.
Yeah. Just the accessibility, the approachability, being diplomatic, and ensuring that, like I say, direct engagement is taken with all students to ensure that, like, if anyone feels under or unrepresented, that they'll be able to fix that as much as we can.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much. And finally, Leo, how would you build a positive student community here at City?
Well, I think one of my favourite parts of the job already has been engaging with students, like SA on campus, going out and actually getting to know students, understand the events that they want to be put on, and just having that rapport with them. I think, sorry, lost my train of thought.
That's okay. So it's building rapport with students, which is something you've enjoyed in the past?
Yeah, I really enjoyed, and I think understanding that the essay is there for everyone, and keep on pushing our promotion of the essay and making sure that people know where we are, that our door is always open, and we're here to help their studies.
Great. Thank you so much. So that's us come to the end of the questions that we had for today. So I think as an audience we should give them a massive round of applause for answering those questions. And we want to take the time as well to just say that we appreciate you taking part in this so much, because I know it can be a wee bit difficult and daunting, and you have done so well taking part. So that has come to the end of our question and answer today. Don't forget to vote when voting opens, and we can't wait to see who's elected in the future. Thank you. Bye.